All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video. What would the Niners offseason look like if they actually landed Maxx Crosby? We're going to talk a little bit about that because there's an awful lot of talk about Crosby being dealt, and the Niners clearly have some interest. Could they land him? If they did land him, what would the rest of their offseason amount to? So we'll break that down. We'll look at that. Of course, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle. The best barbecue in all of Northern California is Pig and a Pickle. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Our springtime sponsors for our trip to the Cactus League. Thank you, Alamar Marina, voted the best lunch spot in Sacramento. Sacramento sports fans' game day destination, floating on the Sacramento River. That's right. Alamar Marina, the best kept secret in Sacramento. Great eats, great vibes, great games. Voted Sacramento's favorite 14 times over. Check out their website, alamarmarina.net. They're closed on Mondays and Tuesdays. They're at 599 Garden Highway. They're open 11 a.m. till 7 p.m. Wednesday through Saturday. Dine, have the shrimp tacos, and sit on the patio while you do. And, of course, thanks also to Novato Chevrolet. Go call my guy, David Corral. He's the man to go see. He'll give you a steal of a deal. Tell him that Krug sent you. The owner, Gus, of Novato Chevrolet, is a tremendous guy. They've been in that location for decades. Go see David Corral. Walk in there, see David Corral. Tell him Krug sent you. Tell him that he promised me that he would give all of our fans a screaming deal. So Krug sent you. Tell him David Corral from Novato Chevrolet. And also thanks to our good friends at Sharp Corners Sports Cards and Collectibles for their contribution as well to our spring training trip to Arizona. All right, let's get into it. What would this offseason look like for the Niners if they traded for Maxx Crosby? The latest talk is that the Vegas Raiders are open to trading him. He clearly wants out. Supposedly, this is a situation that's going to get more and more acrimonious over time because he wants out, and he's not going to budge if he's not going to be happy if he's not out. And every day that goes by, he's more and more unhappy. So the 49ers, I'm sure, have interest. Why wouldn't you have interest in Maxx Crosby? He's awesome, right? The Niners have a lot of needs. They really do. And, to me, they have 13 needs, and they're all pretty significant needs. So Crosby would only fill one of their 13 needs. So you'd have to fill the 12 other needs with whatever else you had left after trading for Crosby. And to trade for Crosby, I don't know what it's going to take, but it's going to take draft capital. At least a number one, probably a 1 and a 2, maybe a 1 and a 3, maybe multiple ones, maybe even a 1 and multiple day 2 picks. So I thought we could do a little exercise today. Let's go through and let's just assume the Niners trade for Maxx Crosby. They got Crosby. The Niners won the Crosby sweepstakes. All right, now they've got that awesome defensive end opposite Nick Bosa. But what about the other 12 needs? And how are those needs going to be filled? And what would this offseason look like if the Niners did and were successful in their bid to trade for Maxx Crosby? So I thought what we could do here is go through the Niners' needs, and then we will fill all of their needs outside of the Maxx Crosby trade with guys who are day 3 picks or going to be undrafted free agents. We're not even talking veteran free agents. We're talking about just rookies. We're going to try to make this offseason work with trading for Maxx Crosby and having no day 1 or day 2 picks. Let's just assume for the sake of the conversation that they all have to go to the Raiders for Maxx Crosby. So your first pick is in the 4th round, and you don't have any picks in the first 3 rounds. And you have to fill all your needs. Okay, so what are the Niners' needs? Here are the Niners' needs as I see them. And this is not a priority. This is just a list, all right? Number 2 quarterback. If Mac Jones is dealt, they need a number 2 quarterback. Sorry, Curtis Rourke. Sorry, Adrian Martinez. I don't think you guys can do it. So they need a number 2 quarterback if Mac Jones is dealt. If Mac Jones is not dealt, that's one less need they have. It's also one less asset they have to trade for, other draft picks that could potentially fill these needs. So, number 2 quarterback is a need. A running back with starter potential down the road, and maybe multiple running backs, to be honest. But at least one running back that has starter potential. I think they need 2 different wide receivers. I think they need a vertical threat because you can't count on Cowing or Watkins or Pearsall, and you have no speed. And you also need a chain mover. So you need 2 receivers. You need a receiver that can move the chains, big-bodied guy, good hands, doesn't have to be a burner. And then you need a vertical threat, somebody who can separate, down the field and make big plays. So you need 2 receivers. You need a tight end. You don't have Kittle. You need an all-around tight end who can block and catch. Tom just is great. He can catch, but he can't block. Farrell's great. He can block a little, but he can't catch. The Kittle's the only tight end on the entire team they have that can block and catch. They need another tight end who can do both, block and catch. They need a starting left guard. Left guard might be the number 1 need because they need a starter. Spencer Burford's probably going to price himself out in free agency and walk, and they're going to need a day 1 starter at left guard. So that kind of becomes kind of a priority. Offensive tackle. They need a future starter at offensive tackle, whether it's to replace McKivitz or to replace Trent, whether they trade Trent or keep Trent. They need a future starter at offensive tackle. That's hard to get. They need a pass rushing defensive tackle. That's hard to get. They've got Collins and West, but they need that pass rushing interior player. You need a defensive end with speed, but since you traded for Maxx Crosby, that need's been filled. You need 2 stacked linebackers that have speed because you're absolutely barren there. So you need 2 of those guys because you just don't know what you're getting out of Nick Martin. You need a free safety who can play pass defense and hit. You need a true number 1 corner with size and length. So, think about that. Number 2 quarterback, running back starter with starter potential, 2 wide receivers, that's 4 needs, a tight end, that's 5, a left guard, that's 6, a future starter at left at tackle, that's 7, 2 standout stacked linebackers, that's 9, a free safety, that's 10, a cornerback, that's 11. So I would say they have 11 needs. Might be more like 12, really, because they do need 2 wide receivers. So it's really 12 needs. It's 13 needs, and then you filled 1 with Maxx Crosby. So now you got 12 other needs. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to go through, and I'm going to give you a player. We're going to do 2 players per position. I'll give you options. I'll give you two number 2 quarterback options, 2 future starter running back options. I'm going to give you 4 receivers, right? 2 vertical threats, 2 chain movers. I'm going to give you 2 tight ends. I'm going to give you 2 starting left guards. I'm going to give you 2 future developmental tackles. I'm going to give you 2 pass rushing tackles. I'm going to give you 4 linebackers because they need 2 at this spot. And so I'm going to give you 4 options, 2 groups of 2. I'm going to give you 2 number 1 corner options, and I'm going to give you 2 free safety options. All are going to be outside day 1 and day 2. Now, how are we measuring this? I went to Draft Tech, and I looked at last year's NFL draft. There were 20, in last year's NFL draft, the first pick of the 4th round was pick number 104. So basically, I just said, hey, anybody rated by Draft Tech in the top 103 picks is off limits to us for this exercise. I only took guys that are going to be there in the 4th round or beyond. All right. 4th round or beyond. Day 2, these are day 3 draft choices. Who could the Niners fill their needs with if they did it all with day 3 picks? Now, even this might be a little unrealistic because they don't have endless numbers of 4th and 5th round picks. They only have, they got multiples in a couple of the rounds, but there's no end. It's not like there's an endless number of day 3 picks they have. But some of these guys are undrafted free agent types as well. So here we go. We'll go down the list. We assume the Niners are trading, let's just assume, their 1st, 2nd, and 3rd round pick all has to go to the Raiders for Maxx Crosby. So I think that's probably a safe assumption. it might be picks in next year's draft or whatever. But if you're going to make a move for Crosby in this year's draft, and you're the Niners, you'd have to give up your first round pick, your second round pick, and your third round pick. I don't think there's any doubt about that. So for this exercise, we're going to do that. We're going to give away the day 1 and day 2 picks. They have Maxx Crosby, but now they've got a dozen needs to fill with day 3 and undrafted guys. And we're not looking at any veteran free agents for this exercise. So here we go. They need a number 2 quarterback. Who are some number 2 quarterbacks on day 2 of the draft that they can get? Now, the two guys I like Mark Gronowski from Iowa and Taylon Green from Arkansas. And if you sit there and go, okay, well, tell me a little bit about these guys. Gronowski was the Shrine MVP. He also was the Relia of Quest Bowl MVP for Iowa over Vanderbilt. Big hands, 10.25-inch hands, very athletic, 230 pounds, very smart. Mechanical engineering major. Just on the traits alone, I like this guy. I like the way he threw the ball at the Shrine practices. I think Gronowski would be a great developmental third-string quarterback. And if you could bring in Kirk Cousins as your number 2, man, you might be able to have Kirk Cousins and Purdy and then maybe a guy like Gronowski. That would be a nice quarterback room. The other guy is Taylon Green, who was a revelation at the Combine, 6'6", 230, played at Arkansas. And they weren't very good at Arkansas. I'll say that, too. He wasn't like he was ripping it at Arkansas. He wasn't. But he's an incredible athlete. 43.5-inch vert. That broke Anthony Richardson's Combine record for a quarterback. Ran 4.37 at 6'6", 230. I mean, I understand the quarterback position is about a lot more than size and speed. It's about processing, what you have between the ears, all this and that. But you know what? If you're just going to talk about a developmental quarterback, give me a guy with huge traits, tons of speed, major size, great arm strength. I want a third string flyer quarterback to be a guy with some traits. And, Gronowski is a winner. And I think I love Gronowski, but I love this kid, Taylon Green. And I'd be happy with either of those guys on day 3 of the draft. All right, let's move to running back. Kalen Black, just an awesome running back for Indiana. Strong legs, keeps them churning, contact balance for days, good receiver, very strong footwork, leg strength, can move the pile. Supposedly he's going to go in the 4th round. I love Kalen Black. I'd draft him. I'd really try to find him in the draft anywhere I could find him. The other guy I really love is Keyshawn Owens, he was the Conference USA Offensive Player of the Year in 2025. He averaged 6.3 yards per carry. He's 5'11", 210 pounds. He's a really great athlete, and he really moves well. And he only had 2 career fumbles on over 550 career touches. This guy, I love this kid, Keyshawn Owens. And to me, that's a day 3 steal running back for sure. Now, probably the guy on the list that I'm the least confident may make it to day 3 is this next guy. Let's go to wide receiver. And let's talk about the vertical threats. Jeff Caldwell from Cincinnati, 6'5", 216 pounds, ran 4.31, 42-inch vertical. He may have pushed himself into day 2 with that workout, but he's slated on Draft Tech to go in the 4th round. So I have Caldwell on this list. I think he's probably going to go in the 3rd round. He might go in the 2nd round with those measurables. 6'5", 216. He ran 4.31 with a 42-inch vert. My God, that's a crazy athlete at huge size. So I really like Caldwell. I liked him when I thought he was more of a possession guy, but now that I know he's got burner speed, I really like him. I don't know if he's going to be there on day 3, but man, if he is, that would be the guy. The other guy I really love is the Mississippi State burner, and he is a true burner. Brennan Thompson. He ran 4.26 at the Combine. Now this guy's tiny. He's 5'9". He's 164 pounds, which is 15 pounds beneath what I usually view as my cutoff weight for an NFL player. I usually don't want to draft anybody who's under 180 pounds, but this guy is such a difference maker as far as speed. And I just think if you put him on the field, he's going to create space. And if he creates space, there's more room for these other guys to make plays. So I love Brennan Thompson and Jeff Caldwell. Those guys both run incredibly well. Now, there's a bunch of other guys, too. The Oregon kid is a super burner. There's lots of speedy guys that I could also go with instead of Brennan Thompson. But speed-wise, if I could get Jeff Caldwell and Brennan Thompson, I'd be real happy there. Now, they need another receiver. They need moving the chain receiver, which might be even a more important guy. The two guys I like are Josh Cameron from Baylor and Dylan Bell from Georgia. Cameron is a former walk-on. I mean, this guy's one of the best stories in the entire draft. This guy's a former walk-on who made himself into a player. Now, he still has some rough edges, but he's got strong hands, and he's a run-after-the-catch menace. And I think Cameron, there's something really special about Josh Cameron as a wide receiver. Now, he's not the awesome route runner, and the hands are just okay, and the speed's nothing to speak about. But man, talking about strong hands, really good run after the catch, very intriguing guy with the ball in his hands. The other guy I love is Dylan Bell, the Georgia wide receiver, just very underrated. This guy was a running back, and he came to college as a running back. Kirby converted him to wide receiver because he had too many other good running backs. But, man, he's got, he's a specialty player. He can run all the gadget plays. I look at this guy as kind of like a Debo. He's got a strong lower half because he does have the pass as a running back, but he's also very explosive. 39-inch vert. He ran a middling 4.5 time. I'm not really concerned about that. This guy makes plays. In the bigger the game, the bigger the moment, the bigger Dylan Bell steps up. I don't think he's going to be drafted. If he is, it's going to be in the 7th round. I love him. Absolutely love him. He would be a fantastic 49er. All right, let's move to tight end. The two tight ends that I like. You got to have a tight end. You can't. I love R.J. Maryland, but he's just a receiver. I love the Indiana kid, Nowakowski or whatever his name is, but he's just more of a blocker. I need somebody who's a blocker who's also a receiver. And the two guys that I like, who's going to be there on day 3. And then I like Sam Roush from Stanford. Really strong blocker. Hands are kind of still developmental, but he's strong, very smart. You got to be smart to play tight end in the Niners scheme with all the shifts and motions and all the stuff that's on your plate as a tight end. You can't be an idiot. And Sam Roush is really smart. The Stanford background tells you as much. So there you go. Strong blocker, smart guy, Sam Roush. Come on down. The other guy I really like is the LSU kid. You can never go wrong with LSU prospects. Bauer Sharp is a favorite of mine. This guy's a former high school quarterback who, one of the scouts compared him to Dawson Knox. He ran 21 miles an hour on the GPS, but he's also a really good blocker. 6'5", 250, 4.5 speed. I really like Bauer Sharp. I think Bauer Sharp is going to be a very, very good day 3 NFL draft choice. All right, let's move to left guard. Now, the Niners may need a starter here at left guard, but there's two really good ones that fell to day 3 in the Draft Tech rankings. Bo Stevens from Iowa. Iowa runs the same system the Niners run. Stevens, I think, would be really, really good. Micah Morris had the best 10-yard split of anybody at the combine among the guards. I think he would be a really good 49er. At tackle, J.C. Davis from Illinois and Emil Wagner from Notre Dame. Both those guys, I think, were very good developmental tackles that will be there on day 3. Defensive tackle, I went DeMonte Capehart from Clemson and Caleb Proctor from Southeast Louisiana. Two real steals of interior players that can rush the passer on day 3. At linebacker, I went with 4 options because I want 2 linebackers. I want Harold Perkins and Torian York. Perkins from LSU, York from A&M. Then I also went with Shad Banks and Eric E40 Hunter from Morgan State. So there you go there. At safety, I went Jalen Catalon, who was at Vegas and transferred to Missouri. Really like Catalon. And Miles Rouser, the hitter from ASU. Really like Miles Rouser. And then cornerback-wise, I went Dalen Everett out of Georgia and Will Lee III out of Texas A&M. So there you go. What would your team look like if you traded for Maxx Crosby and you had to fill the rest with day 3 picks and undrafted rookie free agents? We just did the exercise. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Thanks to our sponsors once again. Thanks to Pig in a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Thanks to Alomar Marina. Check them out, alomarmarina.net. They're at 599 Garden Highway. And thanks to Novato Chevrolet and our good friends at Sharp Corners Sports Cards and Collectibles. The link's in the description for all of our sponsors. And thanks to you guys for supporting the Krug Show on YouTube,